I have been looking for the perfect tiling window management experience for the last 7 years of my freaking life. I've tried i3, I've been on Hyprland multiple times, I've been on Aerospace and Yabai and Amethyst on Mac, I've been on Glaze Window Manager on Windows, and baby, you know what? I'm back on Linux, thanks to Omarchy, or however that's pronounced. I'm actually recording that on an Omarchy machine I set up yesterday on my live stream. In this video, I'm just going to install it to show you how quick and easy it is to get a fully functional Hyprland experience thanks to Omarchy and DHH. Let's do this. So before we dive into the installation process, I just want to walk through what my Omarchy installation looks like. I haven't done anything other than install a couple of applications and rebind some stuff because of the years of rebindings that I'm used to. But for the most part, this has been a phenomenal experience. There's been next to nothing that I need other than some tweaks for my personal preferences. And so I just want to show off a couple of the quick features, It's your usual tiling window manager. Nice. So I can spawn infinite tiles of terminals. I can spawn my browser, which opened all the way down there, right? All of that usual stuff just works. It's also got mouse movement pre-configured, so I can stretch, I can switch with my mouse. I can also swap them about this way. I can switch focus, which is awesome, and all of that jazz. It's your usual tiling window manager. You've got audio control along the top with this interesting little TUI that we've got going on. We've also got Wi-Fi. You've got access to your Bluetooth. I think this is through a GTK application. And then this thing is fantastic. This is the Omarchy home control panel thing. And so you can take a look at your applications with a runner called Walker, but you can also learn. So you can see all of the default key bindings and things like that over here. It's got fuzzy finding too. So if I want to do screenshot, I can look for the key binding here, which is incredible for discovery. I don't have to go over here, go into my config, open those up, and then figure out what my key bindings are. It's right here as part of this learn feature. Definitely one of the best parts. You've also got access to the Omarchy manual here, like that. So if there's anything you don't know about and you need to read through it to see what applications come with the Omarchy, what shell tools, all that jazz, it's ready to go. This documentation has been fantastic. I also want to highlight how much stuff has been done for you. I've done the Hyprland experience before. I've set it up from scratch. Arch Linux, I did ZFS boot menu stuff, so there was there wasn't the comfort of the Arch installer, and there is a lot that you have to do to go from yes, I installed Hyprland and it works, to I now have a Hyprland desktop that can be functional for content creation or gaming or whatever you want to do. Maybe software development. I don't know why that didn't make the list. So when we look through this Hyprland wiki, there are so many things that need to be done. So let's say you go through the installation process. That's fairly simple, right? Install your operating system of choice, your distro of choice. You're probably going to be on Arch or Nix because you're watching this video. Maybe you're a CachyOS user. That's kind of tasteful, right? You've got to go through this entire process. And setting up NVIDIA is another hurdle that you have to do.
But lucky for us, Omarchy
auto-detects your NVIDIA hardware. And we all know that NVIDIA and Linux is kind of a pain. But at the same time, if you ever want to do any ML stuff, these days, you need CUDA. That's just a requirement to enter the game. And so a lot of people are on NVIDIA graphics cards, not because they're inherently better graphics cards, but because you need CUDA to learn some ML stuff. And the software is superior. DLSS is better than FSR a lot of the time and things like that. So a lot of us are just on NVIDIA, even though the 9070 XT is kind of a great card. But it comes pre-configured, so you don't have to worry about that. And that's awesome. Look at this long list in the Hyper ecosystem. So if you want a background for your desktop environment, you need to install Hyperpaper and configure that. If you'd like an idle screen for if your computer times out because you've been a while, or you want a lock screen, that's another application. Under useful utilities, if you want a status bar, well, you're going to have to install and configure that yourself. If you want to do screen sharing of any sort whatsoever, you're going to have to manage Pipewire and Wireplumber and all of these applications yourself. If you've never done that before, you're like, what is Pipewire? Pipewire. Why do I need a plumber for my desktop? It doesn't make any sense. Then you've got app launchers, and you have a bazillion to choose from. How are you going to choose from any of these? And if you choose Emacs, you're doomed because now you have to learn Emacs. And then so on and so forth. There are so many things to get a Hyprland system to the point that Omarchy is by default, that like this could take you an entire weekend if you're experienced, and it could take you weeks if you don't know what you're doing yet. Now, it's a fun learning process, but it's great that if you've done it before, Omarchy gets you all the way to a usable system with Hyprland in like 10 minutes. And so now I'm going to show you what I mean by actually installing it in a virtual machine in about 10 minutes. First thing we're going to do is grab the Arch Linux ISO. This is fairly easy. We're going to go ahead and go to the mirrors. I'm in Canada, so I always pick one of these. And then we're going to grab this ISO. Now, if you're planning on installing this on your own PC, you can just click this. I'm going to grab this link and plug it into Proxmox over here. This is where the process is going to differ. So if you want to do this on your own machine, the tutorial is fairly similar. Basically, all you're going to do is flash a USB. So you might want Balena Etcher for that, or maybe you're a more advanced Linux user and you want to use DD. That's all fine. I'm doing this through Proxmox, and so I just get to plug that in here. There we go. Just like that, we've got our Arch Linux ISO downloaded and ready to go. So I'm going to go in and create a new virtual machine. At this point, if you're building your own actual desktop, you'd just be plugging in your USB, hitting F11 probably enough times that you see your boot menu come up. So I'm going to call this Omarchy test, and then I'm going to load up that ISO that we just downloaded. Go next. I'm just going to take all the defaults. Actually, we're going to give it a little bit more juice so that this installation process isn't a massive pain because the machine is super slow. That'll be nicer. So we'll give it 8 gigs and 4 cores. The kind of thing you might find on like an old ThinkPad or something like that you might be testing this on. Okay, so we've got our new VM, and we're going to start that up. So we've got our Arch Linux VM running here, and I just want to go through on the Omarchy getting started page. There's a number of things that you want to configure before or during your Arch install process. So first thing we're going to do is just install the Arch installer. So we can do that with a pacman-sy arch install, and that way we don't have to go through the Arch Linux manual and do all of that stuff ourselves. Then we can just type in arch install. And if you haven't seen this before, it's really nice. It's like shockingly easy to do. So you can select mirrors and repositories that worked for your region. So in my case, again, I'm going to go down, not Cambodia, Canada, and we're just going to leave that the way it is. Disk configuration is one of the things that is advertised in the Omarchy setup. So we're going to use best effort. We're going to select this hard disk, and we're going to use Btrfs. We're going to use the default volume setup. We're going to activate compression. We're not going to disable copy on write. That's like the best feature of Btrfs. And then we're going to enable disk encryption. So if you go over here, it says encryption types. We're going to use LUKS plus encryption password. When we jump back over here, we're going to select LUKS and set an encryption password. Set it to that. You set it to whatever you want. When you boot up Omarchy, the encryption is the only thing that actually stops anything. Otherwise, you boot straight into the desktop environment. So now we can go back. Btrfs snapshots are really cool. I go with Snapper. I haven't played around with it very much yet, but I'm very much looking forward to it because with ZFS boot menu, I was booting off of snapshots. So I really want to see how that works in Btrfs. For most of this other stuff, default is fine. Set your host name, a little Arch by the way action. For the rest of this, you can kind of leave it. Bluetooth, yeah, you're going to want Bluetooth. You're going to want Pipewire. Those are some applications that you want to add in. Probably not messing with your kernel at all. And for additional packages, we want to grab wget. wget is necessary for the installation process of Omarchy, and we'll see that later. So now we've got wget selected. I'm going to drop out of here. Grab your time zone, all of that stuff, and you're good to go. It's really, really quick. Oh, check this out. So I'm missing a root password here. I forgot to set up a user, and the Arch install process actually lets me know, hey, you're missing config. You're going to want a root password and at least one other user with sudo privileges. This is fantastic because it's so easy to forget that. We're going to hop over to authentication. We're going to set a root password. We're going to confirm that sucker. We're going to go user account. We're going to add a user. I'm going to call it Nathan. After me, we're going to confirm our password again. And we're going to say, yes, Nathan should be a super user so that I can have sudo access. Great. Now we've got a user. We can confirm and exit, head back out, and install. And it tells you, hey, this is your existing configuration. It's nice in JSON. And we can go for it. I forgot one step, and that's in the network configuration. We want to copy the ISO network config to installation. When I did it without that, I had no network configuration, and I couldn't wget this script. With that quick fix, we should be good to go. Here's our new VM, this time with network config. So we're going to go wget-q, capital O, https, omarchy.org/install, and we're going to pipe that to bash. And there we go. That's the process we were looking for. And so there's 5 relatively quick steps for the Omarchy install. So we're going to give it my full name. I'm Nathan Laundry. Yes, actually Laundry. I'm going to give it a throwaway email. So it's going to be bob@nathan.com. The email is actually used in email clients and other applications that are installed with Omarchy. So it's worth actually using the email that you would use regularly. While this goes, let's take a look at some of the applications that come with Omarchy. There's all the regular theming so that you can go on Reddit and show everybody how cool your Linux desktop is. That's the most important part. Then we've got some fairly reasonable hotkeys that I almost entirely remapped. But it's, if you've never worked with a desktop like this, like Hyprland, I highly recommend sticking with these hotkeys. You don't have any relearning to do. And so if you can, the closer you can stick to the defaults, the less manual configuration you have to do. If this is your first time, just learn these ones. That way you don't have to go through and rebind them yourself. For applications, comes with NeoVim. It's using LazyVim, which is a NeoVim distribution. I prefer Astro, not for any reason other than it's the one that I installed first. Lazy and Astro are very similar. They will get you all of the way to a very usable and comfortable NeoVim development environment with LSP. These days with like Copilot and all of that kind of jazz. It's really nice. Just like Omarchy is pre-configured Hyprland setup, LazyVim is the same thing for NeoVim, and it's really great. Other than that, comes with shell tools that you need. Well, okay. I have opinions on all of these Rust-based shell tools. I think FuzzyFind is amazing. I think Zoxide, RipGrep, Isa, or however that's pronounced, and FD are pretty much unnecessary, except for RipGrep. Okay, RipGrep, it truly is way faster than grep, and so it's useful because it's necessary for some tooling in NeoVim. Zoxide, EZA, and FD are just use GNU core utils. They're portable, and you don't have to install them everywhere. That's my opinion. Comment down below if you disagree with me. What else we got? There comes with some cool shell aliases. Tar and stuff like that are kind of a pain to remember every flag. How are you supposed to remember like -xzvf every single time? It's kind of a pain, so it's nice that these are done for you already. Got a bunch of cool TUIs, LazyGit, LazyDocker. I'm a huge fan of the Lazy suite of tools. FastFetch is just NeoFetch or Fetch or any of those. BTOP is like HTOP. It's for process management and things like that. I think one of my highlights for this is the web apps section. Part of Omarchy is being able to turn web apps that you use normally into something you can launch from your application launcher is fantastic. So whatever the web apps you use are, you can go through a process to create a desktop file for them so that you can just launch them. So for me, I'll probably set up Claude. I've been using that more lately. I'll definitely be getting rid of X, and I try to limit my YouTube time so I won't want it on a hotkey, but this concept is really cool, and so I'm excited about that. As for GUIs, I don't use any of these except for maybe MPV and OBS Studio, but it's nice that these come pre-installed. It's really a desktop environment in a box because of all of the applications that come pre-set up. Well, in the meantime, I'm going to go grab myself some more coffee, and I'll see you once this installation is done.
So, the thing installed correctly. The VM works, and so does this desktop. The desktop that I use to record a lot of this video, as well as edit it. So I want to show off. OBS works beautifully, largely thanks to Pipewire just piping my video and audio around correctly. It also did a great job actually editing it. Getting DaVinci Resolve working was a bit of a pain, and there's the codec issues, but that's not an Omarchy issue, that's a DaVinci and codecs problem. This has been working absolutely phenomenally. Discord comes out of the box. By the way, we have a Discord for this YouTube channel if you'd like to join. It comes with notifications for my streams, which you should participate in because they're fun. I highly, highly recommend making lots and lots of terminals in your tiling window manager. Omarchy makes Hyprland usable by somebody who doesn't want to spend an entire weekend or multiple weeks setting up Hyprland. I absolutely recommend this setup. I think it's fantastic. Please give it a try. If you do give Hyprland a try, and Omarchy, feel free to leave a comment down below and like and subscribe for more videos like this. I'll catch you around.